With a number of major data announcements out this week and a couple of significant technical patterns unfolding, it looks like we could be in for a very busy week for UK trading. The UK has a number of economic announcements out this week that could have a significant impact on trading in the FTSE this week. We have on Tuesday UK inflation reports, on Wednesday we have the employment reports, and on Thursday we have retail sales. Other significant announcements that could also influence UK trading. On Wednesday we have Fed minutes, and on Thursday we have ECB minutes. So it's a big week for news. The UK 100 has been working its way back up since, along with other markets, since the end of February, really, when we had a lower low here, a higher low here, was a positive divergence. We've had a nice rally up, but in the last month or two, we've gone into a bit of a sideways trend here. And what's significant about it? Well, look, we've got this. We had, and one of the things we had a golden cross. 50-day went up over the 200-day, but the price was already below it. And both of these averages are starting to trend sideways. What's that telling me? This wasn't the proper golden cross, and instead it looks like we're going into a sideways range where we could have the averages flipping back and forth over the next little while. The emerging range seems to be about 66,000 at the bottom, with a little more support up closer to about 60.80, and on the top side about 64.50 to possibly the 6,500 round number. The 50 and 200-day moving averages currently are in the 61.80 to 6,200 area, so just below the middle. Also, technically looking at the UK 100, the FTSE UK 100, is it looks here on the RSI also like we're going into a sideways trend, bouncing around between about 40 and about 60. It got a little ahead of its above 60 here, but has since come back down into this middle area. Also, I'm going to highlight some of the recent trading action in sterling. We'll start with cable. And it has been coming off a little bit lately as well. So we had this kind of a weak head and shoulders bottom here. It peaked up above it briefly, the neckline here at about 146, and it's drifted back. But now it's finding support at a higher low around its 50-day moving average near 143.30. And there's a longer, broader underlying uptrend that's actually remaining intact here. In terms of momentum, the RSI sitting on 50. Again, this bouncing around between 40 and 60, also telling us neutral momentum. What's most important here, though, is that the cable, in addition to economic data, can also be influenced by Brexit speculation. We're about 5 weeks out now to the referendum, and something interesting that we're seeing is that while the rhetoric is ramping up, the impact on the market is actually subsiding. When we look back in February when the negotiations were on and the deal was announced and the fact that Britain was going to have a referendum crystallized was when we had the point of maximum pessimism, maximum fear. Since then, we've had other pulses down, and that's coincided with people taking sides and with talk of splits in the Tory party and other related things. And each pulse down has had less and less of an impact. And we've got some fairly significant support having built in now around in this 140 to 141 area for the pound US dollar here, and it's come down, and even though we've had a correction here and a sizable reversal, it does appear to be trying to level off here in this 143.40 to about 144.40 range. So this is starting to go sideways here. This is starting to go sideways again here. We could see quite a bit of choppiness in the FTSE, in cable, and also I'm going to show the euro pound in a minute, and over the next little while, but with different types of news moving the markets. I'm just going to wrap up here briefly with euro pound to show there's a significant top happening. And this is really interesting because you hear a lot of talk about doom and gloom and, oh my gosh, if people vote for Brexit, this is going to happen and that's going to happen. All kinds of terrible things are going to happen. But what's interesting is if that was the case, then the euro should be absolutely exploding against the pound. Instead, it's actually topping and looks like it's starting to roll over. Again, it looks like these fears are getting overblown as well, and And look at this. So we had the big rally here between November and February, and another surge up into March and early April. But look at this. We're starting to come back off now. Interestingly, a head and shoulders top forming. Left shoulder end of February, head beginning of April, and right shoulder beginning of May. Look at this. At the head of the pattern, we had a negative RSI divergence. Since then, we're seeing the RSI getting in gear, telling us momentum's rolling over. RSI is broken under 50 again. That tells me that could be momentum turning down again. We've slipped back under the 50-day moving average here near 78.80, and this shoulder resistance here about 79.40.30, and this neckline support down here in and around 72.30 or even 76.30. So I'm sorry, this is 77.50 and this is 77. So those are our levels there. So about 77 to about 8, let's call it 79 and change up here. And it's a rising neckline, also part of what's a classic textbook head and shoulders top. We start seeing these supports getting taken out here. Then the next big support is down here about 75, which is the 200-day moving average and a round number. So it's sure looking like as we head in, we're actually seeing the pound strengthen, although because of the potential for choppiness, we could see a lot of intraday trading opportunities as well.